to take a survey and you're cheating? Hang up. It's War of the Roses on KDWB.
This week's War of the Roses is a little bit difficult, and I'm going to explain why in a second, because I don't think that the guy will ever send the roses to the girl that Jess thinks he's cheating with.
Okay, got it.
Because it would be a bad choice to send the roses to this woman. But let's find out, Jess, what is it you are worried about on War of the Roses today? What made you want to say, hey, let's call and set a trap for my boyfriend, Cameron? What's going on? Hi, Jess.
Hey, yeah. So my boyfriend, Cameron, hangs out every Sunday with his friends to watch football. And they go to the same bar every week. Am I allowed to tell you the bar?
No. Let's, because I worry that somebody is going to look bad that works at the bar. So let's not say the name of the bar. But it's I'm going to guess it's your kind of your typical neighborhood, kind of a sports bar kind of a place.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was getting kind of annoyed that, like, literally all day, every Sunday, he's MIA. So I said that to him, and he invited me to come along and hang out this last Sunday.
Okay, that's cool. All right.
Yeah, that was cool. And we had a good time. Everything was going pretty well. But then he got up and went to the bathroom at one point, and I got up a few minutes after to use the bathroom, and I saw our female waitress coming out of the men's room.
Oh.
You saw the female waitress coming out of the men's room, which is unusual by itself, right?
I mean, I worked in restaurants before, and sometimes there's like an emergency. You got to go in and you got to help clean something up. And especially if people are drinking, there's a chance something else happened in there. So, like, but it is a little bit weird because they don't normally send a female into the men's restroom if there's guys in there.
Okay. But it puts your radar up a little bit because he's in there. A woman comes out. So you're like, okay, what's a woman? So what do you do then? Do you ask her what, or what happened next?
Yeah, so I waited for him to come out, and I asked why she was in there, and he was just like, I don't know, I was in the stall, I didn't see her. Maybe she was, like, filling the toilet paper or the paper towels in the other stalls.
Okay.
It seemed pretty believable, but I was still, like, something was off. So then when the bill came, I looked at the bill, and I noticed that he tipped her 50%.
Okay, nice tip.
Cameron is not a good tipper. Like, he's pretty stingy generally. So I was very surprised by this. And I asked why he tipped her so much. And he was just like, she was so great. She always got us a new beer when we were low, and she cleared the plates. And, she just did such a good job. And so I said, it's weird that you were in the bathroom with her and then you tipped her 50%.
Okay, and there's one more weird element. Don't forget that she's never gone with Cameron to this bar until this week. So you putting all these weird puzzle pieces together, you think that he might have been like hooking up with this server, like maybe for the last couple of weeks. And who knows? Maybe going into like even before football season, that he goes to this bar, meets this server, they hit it off, they sneak into the bathroom, and then you get invited to come along, and then he still sneaks into the one safe place to hook up in a restaurant besides the walk-in freezer the bathroom.
Were you getting any kind of vibe when she was at the table serving you guys that they were flirting, or was it just your normal interaction between a server and a customer?
It was a little bit friendlier than our usual interactions with servers, I would say. There was like a lot of smiling and giggling. It was just very, very friendly. Okay,
because you could go both ways, because if she's smiling and friendly, then they're not trying to hide anything, or they're doing a poor job of hiding it. If she was acting normal, then you could be suspicious that way, because if I was hooking up with a server at a restaurant and Susan came along, I would be very careful not to be extra flirty, because Susan would be like, what is going on with you two?
Yeah. I remember someone came into a restaurant when I was serving, and I served this couple, and I knew that one of those people was married, and they played it off like they were just friends. And then I found out later that they were definitely hooking up, and that person was cheating on their spouse.
Well, here's the problem, though, Jess, because let's face it. I mean, if we call and say, hey, we're with your phone company and take this survey and we set a trap and say you took the survey, now you win a dozen roses sent anywhere you want to, he's not going to send him to the bathroom girl.
Yeah,
I mean,
not.
he's not going to send him to the server because, I mean, it's possible. It is possible that he could, and that would be a big tell. But chances are, if he's just hooking up gross, did people hook up when you were working in the restaurant business? Did customers go in the bathroom and hook up? I've only seen that one time. I was at a sushi place in Wayzata waiting for the bathroom. It was a one toilet bathroom for men and one for women. I'm waiting in the hallway. A couple comes out, and I'm like, obviously, clearly, they were hooking up in the men's room. Does that happen a lot in restaurants?
I've never witnessed it myself, but I do know of servers at places I've worked talk about how they've hooked up on a shift in a bathroom before. And I was like, you can't wait till your shift is over. Like, come on.
Well, maybe they don't. I mean, these two, they don't get the opportunity, but they're okay. I don't think he's going to send flowers to the bathroom girl, but we can try it.
Yeah, I think if it was an ongoing thing, maybe he would, but it just seems too fishy to not do it. So,
well, I'm all for it. Let's do it. We'll make the phone call to Cameron in a second. We'll give him the fake survey, offer him the roses, and see who he wants to send the roses to. Your name is Jess. That should be the only name that comes up, but we'll find out in a second. After we do that, we'll talk to Jonathan Fogel from Fogel Family Law, who will shed some light on this whole thing and give us some tips about custody, divorce, breakups, that type of thing. That's coming up in part 2 of War of the Roses. Send me a text and let me know. What do you think? Do you think that she's justified? Has this ever happened to you? Did you not have any suspicion, but then found out later that he was cheating with one of your friends or neighbors or roommates? I'm sure you got a story. Send me a text to KDWB1.
And now, the dramatic conclusion of War of the Roses. Well, a girl can hope. 101.3 KDWB.
In case you arrived late, let me explain what's going on really quick before we make the phone call on War of the Roses. A woman calls in. She says, my boyfriend goes every Sunday to the local sports bar in our town, and I get bored because he's like, well, I want to go do something too. He's like, well, why don't you come along with? So he invites her to go with. They go, and he's being a little bit flirty with one of the servers. Okay, I guess you noticed this. He goes to the bathroom. She's left sitting there at the table. And then pretty soon she's got to go to the bathroom. So she walks by the men's room on her way to the ladies' room. Worst timing ever. The server he'd been flirting with walks out of the men's room. So he waits. She waits for him to come out. She's like, why is that server in there? He's like, I didn't know she's in there. She could have been in there changing the toilet paper, putting new soap in the soap dispenser. I don't know. But then she's like, okay. But then later he leaves her a 50% tip. And he's not a good tipper. So she's like, what's going on? So she wants us to make the phone call to see whether he sends roses to her or to someone else. We said he ain't going to send them to his server that he hooked up with over the toilet in the bathroom. I mean, seriously, when you go in a bathroom, you're like, I've never done it before, but if you do, you're not going to hook up over the sink because somebody could walk in.
Right. You got to walk in.
You got to go in the stall. Who wants to send flowers to somebody that you hooked up with? That is not a roses romantic kind of a thing. You send them to your girlfriend. She said, let's call anyway. So we're going to make the phone call, see who we send roses to. After that, Jonathan Fogel is on, family attorney, to give us some tips and advice and what he got out of this. Let's make the phone call right now on KDWB.
Thanks for taking the time to do that, Cameron. Super appreciate it. Like I said, I do have a dozen red roses to send to whoever you'd like for taking the time to take the survey. So all I need from you is the name of whoever you want to send the roses to.
Yeah, you can send to Jessica.
Jessica? I assume you just spell it like how it is?
Yeah, with a D, though.
Oh, that's kind of rare. You don't hear that often.
Yeah, not often.
I'm about to blow your mind a little bit, but I think it's all good news. There's no flowers. There's no survey. It's a trap. Cameron, do you have a good sense of humor, would you say, Cameron?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm funny.
I think I'm funny too. Ooh. But people tell me different.
Yeah.
So, Cameron, here's what's going on. It's a trap, man. We're trying to find out whether you would send flowers to your girlfriend or to somebody else. And this is the Dave Ryan Show on the radio over at KDWB. And I know you guys are from Minnesota, but I don't know that you listen to KDWB, and that's fine. Your girlfriend does. Your girlfriend's on the phone. Jess, is on the phone listening, Cameron, to see who you would send roses to. Say hi, Jessica.
Hey, Cam.
Oh, hey, Jess.
Do you wonder now? This is kind of comes out of nowhere. You're probably in the middle of doing some work or whatever, and this call comes out of nowhere. Do you wonder why Jessica would even wonder about you being faithful to her and sending roses to her? Does it make you wonder why she would do that?
Yeah, it makes me wonder, why would you go through all this trouble? Why couldn't you just ask me?
Well, because sometimes guys aren't really honest, but we thought we'd set a trap for you. But Jessica, explain to Cameron your suspicion about the server at the sports bar.
Yeah, I was just, I was a little worried when we went out last Sunday and then you went to the bathroom and our female server was in the bathroom and then you tipped her $40. So that was what caused the suspicion, but I just wanted to see what was if there was anything going on there, which of course I know there's not now.
Does that make sense? Because she was worried that you went to the bathroom, hooked up with the server, and then tipped her $40, on an $80 bill. And she was worried that was a sign that you guys were hooking up. But we told her.
Crazy.
Well, that's what I told her. I said, maybe it is, maybe it's not. But I said, he's never going to send flowers to the server from the bathroom.
That's what I'm saying. I'm never going to send flowers to some girl I banged one time.
Okay. Wait a second. Did he just accidentally give up?
I'm literally in shock right now.
Jenny's mouth is hanging open right now. Are you still there? Cameron.
What did he just say?
Cameron. Did he hang up? He's obviously not there. Did he just let it slip? Would I send flowers to a girl I banged one time? Did he say that?
He did say that.
Which means he was apparently banging her in the back. Oh, my God. Jess, it's our first reaction is shock and surprise, and it's almost funny, but this is not funny to you.
I am in shock right now. Was it a joke? I can't even.
If it was a joke, he would still be on the phone.
I was going to say, I don't think he would have hung up if it was a joke. I think he just realized that he really put his foot in his mouth there.
Who would make such a dumb mistake, though? Have you ever accidentally, I've slipped before, I can't make it to your surprise party tonight. I've got something else going. Oh, then you go, I can't believe I just said that.
Oh, my God.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt for now and say that he got cut off. And he was making a joke. So I'm going to call him back. Can you hang on for a second?
Mm-hmm.
Let me call him back.
Please leave your message for...
Okay, all right. So that seems to prove that he does not want to talk to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jess, you know what? It's a shock and it sucks. At the same time, you kind of knew. You kind of knew.
Yeah, you had an intuition, that's for sure.
Yeah, he was kind of a dick anyway.
What do you think? What a shock. There's a bunch of text messages. My jaw is on the floor. Another one says, shut the front door. We need an update on this one. They totally hooked up with the server in the bathroom because the workers will always not, before they come in, make sure that nobody is in there if they're cleaning the bathroom or refilling the towels. So in other words, if she had gone in the bathroom to refill the towels, she would have said, hello, is anybody here? And he would have said, yeah, I'm in here.
Yeah, and then you also would have like left the door open with the garbage can or something to acknowledge that there was maintenance or something going on.
Yep.
Like you wouldn't just go in there and have the door shut as a female in the men's restroom.
But what a dummy to slip up and say, well, I'm not going to send flowers. Somebody only banged one time. And then catch himself when it's too late. Oh, my God, War of the Roses with a bunch of emojis. This poor girl.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to War of the Roses. Jonathan Fogel is on the phone. Jonathan Fogel has seen it all. Jonathan Fogel, unfazed by anything. Jonathan Fogel been in the legal family law practice business for, 30-ish years or so?
Yes, I'm coming up on 30 years.
When you were new at lawyering, did you ever get a case and go, oh, man, that is crazy, and then call your friend and go, you wouldn't believe what's going on, and now you go, yeah, I've seen it all?
Well, I think I still feel that way sometimes. Oh, my God, I cannot believe this is happening.
Somebody says, best War of the Roses ever. Oh, my gosh, what an idiot. What did you think of the War of the Roses this morning, Jonathan? What was your take on this whole thing?
Yeah, I'll tell you something. I mean, first of all, I've seen people slip up and say things, even to me, or even in court sometimes they'll say things and you're like, wait, did I just hear what that person said?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but what I wanted to focus on today was, I've been thinking about this a lot because I deal with clients coming in and they're going through emotional stuff. I even heard it in Jess's voice, although, at the end, I think she came to the final realization. But psychologists do these studies and they talk about 5 stages of divorce, 5 emotional stages of going through a divorce.
Okay, because it's a huge, huge life thing.
It's a huge life change, right? You're losing a family. You're losing not only your own family, but you think of in-laws and nieces and nephews that are going away. So it's kind of like a death, right? It's just that everyone else is still alive. So it's really difficult. And so there's 5 stages that people talk about, that people go through. First being denial, right? And you can hear that even in Jess's voice. Like, no way this is happening, right? It's a coping mechanism that all of us use to deal with really overwhelming situations, right?
Yep.
It's our body telling us, no, this isn't happening, to protect us, right? So you see, that's kind of the first stage people go through. Then there's anger. And that comes from feelings of betrayal, right? You all know people that are going through divorce and they're angry, right? That's that stage that they're at. They've realized that it's happening and now they're just mad.
Yep.
Right? And then you get bargaining. People get into a bargaining stage where you think about that. If you're ending a relationship, it's like, well, maybe I can try to manipulate or talk the other person into a different result.
Okay, so you try to talk them out of divorcing, possibly.
Yeah, it's like, well, maybe I could do this differently, or if I change this, or if we went to therapy, maybe if I change, could we do something different? Even though you probably know that it's over, you're still trying to bargain and trying to figure out a way to get it over with, or to get it back together.
Sure.
And then when that doesn't work, people go into depression. And that's a really tough stage because that stems from really being sad and lonely, and they're depressed. And at that point is a time where maybe they need the help of a third party, like a therapist or somebody else that can help them. And then there's that last stage, which we heard Jess at the end, where she said, well, I didn't like him anyway, or he was a jerk. right? And that's what they call the stage of acceptance.
And that's when you start to move on a little bit, when you can finally move on after all the other stages.
Yeah. And look, these stages are not a one-size-fits-all, but I like to point it out because when people are going through the divorce process, we as people that are watching, can help by calling or talking to them or realizing that they'll get through this stage and move on.
So if the stages are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, but basically they're going to be different lengths and different whatever for different couples.
Yeah, and look, by understanding it, right, and I talk to people about this, even when they come in my office, I talk about this to them because they're not even sure really how to cope with what's going on, but by understanding it better, by understanding their own emotions, it helps them navigate the divorce process. I know people say a lot of things about lawyers and all we're doing is trying to, to get money or to get people divorced. But the reality is I look at my job as really educating people and helping them get through this process because they are going to have a life afterwards.
And that's true, and that's a really good point. And one of the things Jonathan has informed me or educated me about is that he doesn't try to do it all himself. If you need to link up with a therapist or a financial planner, you also have some resources on that. Find Jonathan online, FogelFamilyLaw.com, Fogel, FogelFamilyLaw.com. If you don't know what to do, if you're stuck and you're like, I don't know what to do, maybe what you need is a lawyer. And if you are in an unhappy situation, get a hold of Jonathan, find out what your next steps might be. Jonathan, thank you so much. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.